Hey everybody, welcome to this short video showing you the new features we're bringing to market with Avantra 20.11. I'm Brenton O'Callaghan, the Chief Customer Officer, and I'm delighted to be joined today by my good friend and colleague, Bernd Engist, our Chief Technology Officer. Bernd, thanks so much for joining me today.
Hi everybody, and happy to be here. Great stuff.
Absolutely excellent. So this is our third release this year, so Bernd, your team's been busy. We've had 20.2, we've had 20.5 and 20.11. First question, do you guys ever sleep?
So when year's end is coming, I think all our stuff, or especially the development and engineering teams, need a little bit of a rest, indeed.
But we're going for 4 releases next year, right?
No. Next year will be a little bit different.
All right, Bernd, let's go through each one of these for what's coming in Avantra 20.11 in the run phase. Let's go through each one of these with the high-level headlines of what's new. So obviously it's all new, but native support of IQ Database. Let's talk about that very briefly.
Yeah, so native support of SAP IQ Database. It's SAP IQ is especially used for very, very large databases where HANA is simply too expensive. There are technologies around since quite a while. It's called nearline storage, where you can bring data from HANA and move it over to an SAP IQ database. So this database got more and more important for our customers, and they are really happy now that we provide native support in managing and monitoring this product.
Brilliant. With 8 checks straight out of the box the minute you configure a new system. So that's really cool. SAP Cloud Platform Integration and Cloud Connector. We talked briefly about the fact that this is going to become and is so important for any customer running a hybrid environment where they have SaaS products. What are we introducing in this space?
So we've been supporting this previously with our generic integrations. That's very important to say. We can basically support any SAP or non-SAP SaaS solution. Now, what we're changing here, it's just setup. The setup is so easy. You just point and click. You're saying, okay, I have a SAP Cloud Platform integration running on SAP Neo platform or Cloud Foundry. You give us a URL and then you're there. And same with the SAP Cloud Connector. So we're just simplifying it to our customers. And as well, the checks we provide are really relevant here. So we're checking for expiring certificates or for messages which are failed on the SAP Cloud Platform integration. And we know this from our customers because they do this manually, and we're just helping them to automate this.
Brilliant. And it all goes back to the whole acceleration. It's 0 to completely configured with checks applied in seconds rather than having to think about it and work at that for a longer period of time, which is what we're all about. What about SAP SLT? This is one that constantly comes up actually, and has been constantly coming up for a lot of customers. We're bringing it in 20.11. What are we introducing?
What we're introducing here is support for the SAP Landscape Transformation Replication Server. It's a bit of a long product name. Is around since quite some time as well, but still heavily used. And that's why we decided to put some native support for this product into Avantra. Typically Avantra style, we detect automatically, on this ABAP system SLT is being deployed with these configurations, and then we're deploying these checks automatically and checking all these SLT configurations. And it's has been previously used in HANA sidecar environments, for example.
Speaking of HANA, SAP HANA being the flagship product that SAP have out there, we were one of the first, or if not the first, management solution to support HANA. We're enhancing that. We're bringing some more checks to the fore. What has the team introduced here?
So we have 5 more out-of-the-box checks for SAP HANA. Again, these have been previously available by custom extensions. Now we are integrated them into the native set of checks. So 0 configurations, they are just there. For example, we are checking HANA admission, which is something introduced with HANA 2.0. So we're already starting having checks for HANA 2.0 only now with this release. So that's really cool what we provide here. As well for the 2 billion 2 billion table limit we have with SAP HANA. So this will be supported now with some really cool forecasting.
Excellent. And then on top of that, we've been bringing out a huge number of enhancements from the mobile app right through to support for new Java versions around the agent, and also some enhancements around the SAP space. What are the headlines here? What are the ones you would cherry pick as really important ones to talk about today?
Yeah, for example, you know that we've been providing start-stop automation, including cloud resources for SAP since quite a while. SAP Business Objects we've introduced in the 20.2 release, and now we're adding as well start-stop support for SAP Objects. And we are enhancing our capabilities in monitoring XML messaging, because this is so important for integrations, for SAP system to other products. That's why we're enhancing here as well.
And under the hood enhancements, security, encryption, support for Power on Linux. Have I missed? Linux on Power, I should say, not the other way around. Anything I missed there? Anything you'd want to highlight?
And as well, as we see that our deployments of Avantra server are getting bigger and bigger because we are working with managed service providers, which have very large-scale installations, as well performance improvements are really important for our application.
Brilliant. So why don't we move on from what's new in Avantra 20.11 in the run space, which is what we've been discussing. Let's talk about the new stuff. Let's talk about the build element. Bernd, what are we doing in this space? What's new? What's the vision here?
So the vision is that with Avantra Run, we detect issues in your SAP system, right? With Avantra Build, we're going to resolve these issues in your SAP landscape. For example, we detect, there's an outdated component, right? So there's a security issue. You should update your SAP kernel, right? That's our first step. Our vision goes far beyond that. That we are doing more stuff like implementing SAP nodes, support package stacks, HANA hotfixes, all this kind of stuff. And this will be in our build space, right? Now, since we are ready for the first step into this direction, because we have a great new feature implemented and it really works seamlessly and very easy to use, which is the Automated SAP Kernel Upgrade. We can't wait to let our customers work with it. Therefore, we are releasing it now as a technology preview.
We chose this particular scenario for a reason, right? So there's lots of reasons why people would think this is interesting and cool. What are the top level items that people say, this is going to save me time, or this is going to make it more secure? What's the most important thing to customers here? Why did we choose this one?
Yeah, it's a foundation of an SAP system, the kernel, right? And it's normally it's not patched that often, and we believe this puts systems at risk because since a downtime is required and since people need to work maybe for systems, they need to work during nighttime, during out of office hours when nobody is using it. We think it's interesting to automate this, that we can have the checks, everything, the prerequisites, you can run without downtime during office hours, and then you can actually schedule it and do the downtime, and there's a phase called kernel post where the executables are being exchanged. You can run this automatically during nighttime. And
so let's talk about a typical kernel upgrade, because it's very useful at this point to quantify the potential benefits. So if you're talking about a kernel upgrade, are you talking, it's usually 5 minutes manually, or it's usually an hour or 2 hours? What's your view on this? Typically, how long does it take, and how long should it take if you're talking about an automated world?
Yeah, so a kernel upgrade is like 10 to 12 manual steps. You first download the executables from SAP, you bring it to your SAP server, and then you need to extract it, you need to test it, you need to do a lot of stuff all around it. And then you can as well do mistakes, right? And that's a problem which might happen here. With automation, you look at the prerequisites, and then you can just look at the logs. Has Avantra done everything well?
So you're going from 12 manual steps, which can take anywhere between, and I know this from experience, from 30 minutes to 90 minutes. You're bringing this down to 4 or 5 minutes, all automated. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say, exactly. You download the executables from SAP, you upload to Avantra, and then we already tell you, okay, these are the systems which are eligible for a certain kernel package. And then you can say, okay, accept, and then we can plan these upgrades, and then you can run it at your convenience, right?
Super. There's also a change in the way people do things here, because you just said that people don't tend to patch their kernel very frequently, and this does leave a potential hole in your enterprise critical systems that can be exploited, and this is becoming more and more important for businesses, especially in the post-COVID world. So you're talking about a world where people will be able to patch their kernel on a much more frequent basis, schedule that patching the minute SAP release an update, and not have to worry about it. It becomes so much easier to do the right thing. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. You know that the origin of the SAP kernel, it's written in the C programming language, right? Similar to the Unix or Linux kernel as well. So these are languages which are, by default, nobody thought of security in the early 70s. Therefore, still we find security-related stuff which need to be patched. And the SAP kernel is no exception. It's same with the Unix kernel, with Windows, with all these products which have quite a long history.
Well, I think that's as much as we'll talk about now for Avantra Build. For anybody who's interested and you want to see more, please go to avantra.com/preview or talk to your account manager or your customer success manager. We'll be more than happy to show you some of the new and cool features we're introducing with Avantra 20.11. Bernd, I want to thank you for taking the time this morning to speak to me and to go through all of these features and to really showcase what's new in Avantra 20.11. And I can't wait to see what's going to come next year from your team. I know there's some really cool stuff in the works. So thank you again, and thank you everybody for watching, and enjoy Avantra 20.11. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.